Did you watch Glass Onion?
I watched like 20 minutes of it.
Oh, it's awful. Yeah, it's awful, right? Yeah, it's not good. So Glass Onion.
Well, it's very popular.
Let's say hold on a sec. Let's read the whole title. Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery. Rolls right off the tongue. What a fucking, before we even get in the movie, what a fucking stupid title. I remember when I saw that, I was like, how dumb do studios think we are? That like, what is going on with the names and movies? Like, you could have just called it Glass Onion. Like, people aren't that fucking dumb that they're not going to be able to put together like, oh, this blows my mind.
I guess they didn't have faith that the audience would know that it's a sequel to Knives Out.
It's just, it angers me so much now, these fucking stupid fucking names that studios come up with because they're like, people are dumb. They're not going to know this is connected to that. No one's going to read and go, oh, okay. No one will be able to figure it out from the fucking trailer and the fact that Daniel Craig is playing the same character name. What is his name in the movie? Benoit Blanc.
Yeah,
it's like no one could possibly. I mean, for fuck's sakes, why aren't the market? Here's what I don't understand. Why don't you just call it Glass Onion and then it's up to the marketing team to inform you that it's a sequel?
Yeah.
I mean, literally, you could have right at the beginning of the trailer a sequel to Knives Out. Benoit Blanc returns. The tagline of the fucking movie could be Benoit Blanc returns. Here's an alternate title: Glass Onion, a Benoit Blanc mystery.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, Knives Out was not made in the hopes of like, I don't believe when he made
like a
Knives
franchise of like Knives Out 4.
Right. I don't think when he made Knives Out, he's going to be like, Knives Out is now the branching point for everything else. Like, he created a cool one-off movie. It was a one-off little, fun little murder mystery movie.
I really liked Knives Out, the first one.
And I did.
Fantastic.
We talked about this.
Okay.
Yeah. And what drives me fucking nuts is the fact that they're like a Knives Out mystery. But that implies that Knives Out is the central naming mechanism in the series. Knives Out? So now so you're telling me the next movie is now also going to be a Knives Out mystery?
Yeah, that doesn't really make sense.
It doesn't make any fucking sense. It's such a weird naming convention. What were they fucking thinking?
Well, it's like a good comparison. So Benoit Blanc is a detective. He solves mysteries.
Right.
But it's like when Sir Arthur Conan Doyle wrote Sherlock Holmes, he didn't, like, he wrote like A Study in Scarlet or something like that. Like, one of the titles was like A Study in Scarlet, and it was one of the mysteries of Sherlock Holmes. But it's not like A Study in Scarlet mystery featuring Sherlock Holmes, Glass Onion. It's like, it's a weird, it's like, you don't have to name it like.
This is what the equivalent is. Imagine Sherlock Holmes is like, I don't know, the butcher on Baker Street, okay?
Yeah.
Let's say the first story was the butcher on Baker Street featuring Sherlock Holmes. Imagine the sequel is like Murderer at Wimbledon, a butcher at Baker Street mystery. See how that makes no sense? Yeah. You're naming part of your second movie based on the title of the first movie. That doesn't make, it's so fucking weird.
So it bothers you.
That is of all the dumb things they do, because they do so much fucking stupid things with titles now, where they refuse to number movies anymore. Nope, it's not Scream 5, it's Scream.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden, it's Scream 6. So why didn't you just call it Scream 5?
This has been a problem for years now.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, no, it's not Halloween, whatever it would have been, 10. It's Halloween. But then it's Halloween Kills.
Yeah.
But then what? So you're telling me the franchise goes Halloween, Halloween, Halloween Kills?
Well, it must be
so fucking stupid.
It must be a marketing thing that they've researched where they see that there's diminishing returns. Like maybe people looking and they go.
And what I'm saying is, I don't care.
I don't want to go
number
see Halloween.
Your fucking movies.
Yeah. But think about it.
It makes it so confusing though when you're trying to look it up.
To play devil's advocate.
So dumb. No, there's no defense. There's no defending this.
No.
People aren't that fucking stupid. They already know what they're signing up for. The fucking movie's called Halloween. Jamie Lee Curtis in the movie. They already know this has to somehow be a sequel to the original.
It's
not a fucking remake. It's not a remake. But see, I
think they're just saying it's like there's diminishing returns where like the average person on the street is going to go, oh, Halloween 8. I don't really want to watch that because I haven't seen the other 7 in a while. And it's like, maybe it's confusing. I may not know what's going on or something. And they're like, oh, it seems like a commitment. It seems like more of a commitment,
right?
To walk up to like a poster and see like such and such 9.
Sure.
It's like,
then let me,
that's a lot.
Then
like,
let me offer you an alternative. Subtitle the movie with something like Halloween Reborn or Halloween whatever. Subtitle. It's a good alternative to a number. But you know what you don't do? Just use the title you've already used. You don't do that. Because now in that series, there's Halloween, Halloween, Halloween. There's 3 movies in that franchise that are just called Halloween.
That's pretty ridiculous.
That's fucking...
There's 3?
There's Halloween, there's the Rob Zombie Halloween, and now there's the new Halloween.
Is it actually called Halloween, the newest?
Yeah, 2018. It's just called Halloween.
Oh my God, okay.
Yeah. Dumb. I
thought they were called like Halloween Kills or something.
That's the sequel to that one.
Okay.
Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends. But the first one should have been Halloween Reborn or something.
They literally just called it Halloween.
Even though it's a sequel.
That's a huge,
Makes no...
that's a huge problem.
It's you might even say it's as dumb as calling your movie Glass Onion a Knives Out mystery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know what this is similar to? Is like...
these fucking dumb names. I can't handle it anymore. I can't do it.
It's like First Blood, right? Like you've got... The first movie was called First Blood.
Yeah, and then it's the second one is called Rambo First Blood Part 2.
There you go.
And then the third one was just called...
They are doing that.
Then the third one was called Rambo 3.
And then eventually they just called it Rambo.
Then the fourth one's just called Rambo, and then the fifth one's called Rambo Last Blood. The Rambo franchise might be the worst named franchise of all time because they couldn't decide at any point if they wanted to go for numbers, sequels, or just different titles. And so they did all. So they just did them all. Which is not that you don't do that. Stop fucking just calling your new movie unless it's a cold remake. So you just said Friday the 13th, right?
Yep.
What is that movie called? The one you just watched?
Friday the 13th.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's a remake. So it actually justifies just being called that.
Well, wouldn't Halloween justify it?
No, because it's not a remake. It's a sequel.
Not?
It's a sequel to the original. So that's why I said in that timeline, it goes Halloween, Halloween, Halloween Kills, Halloween Ends.
So you're saying if it is a true remake,
like the Rob Zombie one,
it's allowed to just
absolutely
be the same,
right? Because it is just a remake, right? Like even though, like The Fly is a good example, right? Like The Fly, there's the Vincent Price one, then there's the new one, The Fly. That's totally fine. Invasion of the Body Snatchers had a remake, right? Has several remakes now. That's the only acceptable time you can use the original title.
Yeah.
After the original title has been used, you have to name your movie something else. If it's a fucking legacy sequel, so Scream did this. The original movie. So listen to the Scream series.
Scream 2,
Scream 3.
Let's see if I can name them. Is it Scream 4?
Scream 4, yeah.
Scream 5?
Nope, Scream.
Scream.
Just Scream.
And what's the new one that
Scream 6.
You're kidding.
Nope.
So what? Scream 2, 3, 4. Scream 6.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Exactly. Because they were like, no, people are dumb. They're exactly what you just said. They're like, if we call it Scream 5, it's been too long. People will be like, they'll be worried. They're not going to know what's going on, even though these movies are just fucking nothing plots anyways.
Yeah.
Just dumb slasher flicks. So like, we got to call it Scream. Even though it's not a remake, it's a legacy sequel. We're just going to call... Guys, don't call it Scream. Why don't you just call it like Scream Awakening, Scream whatever.
Reborn.
Subtitle it.
Whatever.
But don't just use the original title. That doesn't make any sense. Like, it angers me so much.
They totally missed out on the Alien. Scream 2 should have been Screams. $.
You know what? Like, no. This is going to be the end of the episode. We're not even going to ever get into... I don't even want to talk about Glass Onions.
Yeah.
Let's just make this...
Okay,
Glass Onions, I thought it sucked.
I checked out after 20 minutes because I don't care about any of the characters.
The characters were all obnoxious. They're all obnoxious, not likable.
If I don't care if they die...
Do you like Benoit Blanc?
I do. I like Benoit Blanc.
I like Benoit Blanc. I would like to see him in a smarter film.
Yeah.
The first movie was pretty serious.
I really enjoyed it.
But it had comedic bits to it. This is if the first movie is Thor Ragnarok, this is Thor Love and Thunder. where they cranked up the comedic bullshit so much that it becomes a wacky romp with Benoit Blanc just forced to be a part of it.
Along for the ride.
But also they made Benoit Blanc a little too goofy in this movie too.
Yeah.
He's more interesting in the first movie. They made him a little too goofy in this.
I didn't purposely check, like turn it off, but like I watched like a half hour and then I had to go do something and I was like, I don't really care to return to it. Yeah. So I just never did.
So anyway. Fuck this movie. Fuck Glass Onion. I know it was hugely popular. I didn't like it at all. I didn't think it was enjoyable. I watched the whole thing. It's not a great resolution. It's just whatever. Yeah. They spent $1 billion on it, made $1 billion, whatever. Now let's talk about naming in Hollywood. No, this is actually what I want to talk about. I literally want to. This is way more interesting than this.
Yeah.
If you're gonna make a legacy sequel, you cannot use the original title. This is rule number 1. You can't use the original title again. If it's a remake, that is the only time it is acceptable to use the original title in the series.
Okay.
I also have no problem. So let's talk about numbers. I like numbers. Number your movies. I don't care if it's fucking. I'm gonna give. Well, hold on. I was about to credit something, but then I realized no, they fucked up too. So I was about to credit Fast and Furious because they started just numbering them, but then I realized no, they're actual assholes.
Became madness too.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Like, they also did the shit where they just kept changing the titles around. So Friday the 13th, they just number the fucking movies, and then the ones where they didn't number them, they were subtitled. Say what you will about that franchise, but the number system was extremely consistent. You got Friday the 13th, then you got Part 2, Part 3, Part 4, The Final Chapter, which is also just called Friday the 13th, The Final Chapter. Fine, again.
Fair enough.
Total, fine. Then you got Part 5, New Beginning. Part 6, Jason Lives. Part 7, New Blood. Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. Then you got Jason Goes to Hell. Again, subtitled.
Fair
totally
enough.
Fine.
Yeah.
Jason X, which is Jason 10. Are you kidding me? Like, Friday the 13th can get it right, but like a new movie franchise that has like $1 billion budget from Netflix can't? Like,
what's your opinion on Planet of the Apes? That's an interesting one because there's 1 million of them, but they all have like
Beneath,
different names,
War for.
Yeah, like Beneath the Planet of the Apes,
War for the Planet of the Apes,
like something else.
Dream of Planet of the Apes. No, it's not real. Debate about Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, but now they're getting like the newest one coming out is like
So here's the question.
Okay,
what do you prefer? Do you prefer numbers or do you prefer subtitles or do you prefer completely different titles? Because that's an example where the titles are actually completely different. Those aren't subtitled. I say the gold standard is just number them.
I would lean towards try to have slightly different variations of the name, but
so you like Predator, Predators,
Predator,
the Predator. See, I don't. I think that gets. See, the problem is by the time you get to the 4th,
it depends on how big the franchise is.
You get diminishing returns. By the time you get to the 4th, the names start sounding stupid and convoluted.
Yeah. So I guess the ultimate solution is if it goes on long enough, it should probably just be numbers. I say
number them from the beginning. If you don't want to number them, subtitle them. But pick one or the other. You can mix and match. I don't mind. Like, again, like Scream. I get it. It had been like 15 years or whatever, 10 years between 4 and 5. They didn't want to go with the hard 5. I get it because they thought it would intimidate people. Final Destination did the same thing. The last one was, so the 4th one was called, talk about dumb names. Final Destination, Final Destination 2, Final Destination 3.
Yeah.
Guess what the 4th one's called?
Final Destination?
The Final Destination.
Oh, They added the Final Destination. Okay.
Do you know how annoying it is when you try to search that movie? Very
that's
annoying.
the other thing. Like with modern search engines,
this is important.
Yeah.
Because now you have to have that because otherwise you don't get the right results.
Or you see people just add the year. That's another thing.
Yeah.
When they talk about it online.
When they talk about Halloween, they talk about 2018. That's how I refer to it as.
Halloween, like 2018.
Yeah, the 2009 Friday the 13th.
2009 Friday the 13th. Yeah.
I like numbers or subtitles, and I don't mind if you mix and match. But to me, the gold standard is numbers and subtitles.
Planet of the Apes fucked up too in a way because they had the Tim Burton one, which I think was just called Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, but that was a remake.
Oh, it was a remake. So that gets a pass.
Remakes get passes.
Okay.
Yeah, remakes get passes. Because then that is technically starting its own new line, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's use what you just said. So the Planet of the Apes series. That's proposing what you like, which is variations on the name.
Yeah. They start to get a little.
They get convoluted,
long in the tooth.
Yes, they become not easy to say.
Yeah.
And interestingly, the new series, which is what you're referring to, they use that naming convention.
Yeah, they went with like Rise of the Planet
War
of the Apes.
for the Planet of the Apes.
War for the Planets of the Apes.
It
starts to be a mouthful.
Yeah, it starts to be a mouthful. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. The what's the other fucking franchise I'm thinking of? Well, let's use Fast and Furious here for a second.
Okay.
So Fast and Furious did what you were saying originally.
But they did like the Too Fast, Too Furious.
Okay, so original movie is called
Fast and Furious.
Fast and the Furious.
The Fast and
No. Hold on a sec. I gotta confirm this, but
Fast and the Furious.
So this is where it gets confusing, and I always forget this. The first one and the fourth one almost share the same title. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. The original 2001, The Fast and the Furious.
Okay.
Okay. Second movie, Too Fast, Too Furious.
Fair enough.
Fine.
Okay.
Third movie, Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift.
Tokyo Drift.
It's fine. Subtitle. The fourth movie, Fast and Furious. That's what the fourth movie's called.
Ugh. So did they just remove the?
And
they made an ampersand.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Fast and Furious. They removed the two thes and shortened the and to an ampersand. Fast and Furious.
That's 4.
That's 4.
What did they do with 5?
Fast 5.
Just Fast 5.
Fast 5.
Okay.
No, it's not done. Fast and Furious 6.
Back to the ampersand.
Back to the Fast and Furious.
And Furious 6. Okay.
The seventh movie, Furious 7. Now we've dropped the Fast.
So now instead of Fast, it's just Furious.
Furious 7.
So they're not fast in that movie.
They're just furious.
They don't actually go fast.
No, the entire movie.
They're just upset.
It's like 12 Angry Men. It's just a bunch of
guys in a room
debating if a guy's guilty or not. Okay, and then the eighth movie,
The Fate of the Furious.
The Fate of the Furious.
That's interesting.
And then the
F9.
The Fast Saga.
The Fast
So
Saga.
forget what I was about to give them credit, and I don't know what I was thinking because I hadn't thought of these titles in a while. And then the newest one,
Fast X.
Fast X.
I know that. Yeah.
Yeah. Convoluted, awful, no consistency. This is dog shit. This is how you do not name movies. You do not name your franchise like this. They immediately fucked up with Fast and Furious because that's way too similar to The Fast and the Furious.
Yeah.
It's too similar. Just like Final Destination was The Final Destination. Fuck you. And guess what the next movie was called?
What?
Final Destination 5. So why even do it?
God damn it.
Yeah.
What are we doing here?
Saw.
Okay.
Original.
Saw 2.
3, 4, 5.
There's like a million.
All the way up until Saw Final Chapter, which I think is like 6, which was also called Saw 3D.
Okay.
And then, but then they changed it, and then it was Saw. They after Final Chapter or Saw 3D, it was Jigsaw. Jigsaw. They named it Jigsaw.
Okay.
Yeah, and then
wasn't there like a spinoff one?
Glad you asked. You want to talk about stupid fucking names of movies?
Oh, that's
a Saw movie? The Chris Rock movie.
That's a Saw movie?
Spiral from the Book of Saw. The book. What does that mean? The book. It's not based on the Book of Saw?
Is Saw based on a book?
That? It might be, but I'm pretty sure this is based on the movies, not the fucking book series.
I've seen that image, like that poster.
Yeah, you didn't know
Chris
that
Rock?
This was a...
I thought it was just like a thriller. I didn't know. I actually never noticed that it was...
You would think this was a Saturday Night Live, gag. It's so stupid. But apparently Chris Rock was a huge fan of the Saw movies, and he really wanted to do this role. It's not comedic. It's him playing a serious character.
It's very serious.
I've never seen it. I don't want to see it. I don't fucking care to see it. Yeah. And then, but see, here's where it gets really confusing. So does this have sequels? See, now do you see why we had to talk about this? Because there's so much to talk about bad names of sequels.
Yeah.
When you get down to it, what we're referring to is the names of sequels is specifically it. Okay. So hold on a sec. I'll bring this up. Let me just bring up the Saw list of movies. Yeah, here we go. This is what I wanted. Okay, yes.
Okay.
So I was wrong. Sorry. The 8th movie was called... No, 7th movie? Did I say this? I think I said the 6th.
So Saw 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
6.
7th. The 7th is...
Final Chapter,
3D.
a.k.a. Saw 3D. Nothing wrong with that. Jigsaw, fine. I'm okay with that. Spiral from the Book of Saw. It's fucking stupid. Doesn't make any sense.
Saw X.
Saw X, which implies what?
That implies that the other two are in fact in that franchise and not spin-offs, and that they should be numbered.
Correct. That's what you would think. You would think the one before it is
what
also, preceded it.
If you're like searching quickly, be like, wait, am I missing? Did I not see Saw
8 and 9?
8 and 9?
Yeah, so here's where it gets really confusing. So Saw X, right? This is an example.
Shouldn't X just be called Saw 8?
Okay, so here's where it gets funny is, how I was just bitching, being like, just number them. Yeah. This is an example where they shouldn't have numbered them because it actually doesn't make any sense. So, Saw X, what does that imply?
The 10th Saw movie?
10th entry, right.
Okay.
So if it's the 10th entry in the series, where do you think it ranks in the timeline? You've never seen this, but...
I have not seen any of the Saw movies.
Okay, so let's use Jason X. Jason X. Where do you think Jason X ranks in the timeline?
Pretty far.
Right.
I mean, yeah.
Because it was the 10th movie.
Killing people for 10 movies. Yeah.
Right. So where do you think Saw X exists in the timeline?
I'm just guessing based on your setup.
No, you have to actually, think like a dum-dum.
It would be the most recent one. Yeah.
Right. No,
in the timeline.
It takes place between 2 and 3.
Oh, even worse than I was predicting. I was predicting, based on your setup, that it'd be a prequel before
it is
the
a prequel,
Saw.
but it's a prequel during an in-between portion of the movies.
That's bizarre.
Yeah, right. Why are you calling it Saw X? Okay, yeah, it's the 10th movie, but not canonically. Canonically, it's not the 10th movie at all. It's a weird prequel that exists
in between.
It
Saw 2.5.
Why not just call it like Saw something? Saw subtitles. Saw Awakening or
because
whatever.
Fuck you, that's why.
Right. This is an example where they shouldn't have used the number, but they did anyways. All of this is to say, and I could keep going because I know so many franchises that fuck with the titles. All of this is to say, be consistent. The best thing to do is go number your sequels and or use subtitles. The worst things to do is use stupid fucking subtitles that don't make any sense, like Book of Saw or fucking A Knives Out Mystery. Unnecessary subtitling can fuck right off, and you only get away with using the original name of the series if you're beginning a new series and it is in fact a remake, a clean break. That's the end of my rant. Do you agree with what I just said?
I agree. I agree with you.
Yeah. What do you prefer though?
I think that
now
there's
you heard what
a
I
secret
prefer.
Cabal of businessmen in Hollywood that have done this just to annoy you. Is what I
mean.
think.
It's not just me. You're annoying a lot of people, and you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Yeah, these are lizard people.
Yeah, they're like, how can we name this just to piss off Justin Ashley?
And they exist in cocoons and they live for tens of thousands of years. Yeah. So what to me seems like a life of an entire lifetime of torment, to them is just like a blip.
Yeah.
So they're more than willing to dedicate this time to fuck with me with the titles.
Yeah, the entirety of like human civilization.
Well, it's just one of these things where it's like every time I think I've heard the dumbest title,
something else comes out. And it's not just me. Like, studios need to start giving some respect to the audience. Yeah, most people are fucking dumb and the only taste they have is in their mouth. I agree with that. That notion, I 100% am agreeing on that. But what I don't agree with is like, give people a fucking like some credit. Like, people will figure out what the movie is and they'll decide if they want to watch it or not. Stop trying to trick them, making them think it's a new thing when it's not. Stop trying to psychologically manipulate people to watch your fucking movie by like attaching something else to it where it's like, oh, it's called Spiral, but don't worry, it's from Saw. Don't worry. Like, stop doing that. Have some fucking faith in your audience. God. It's weird to call it like Scream 6, but it's like, we're just going to call it Scream. Or what was it?
Scream 5.
Scream 5. It's just Scream. Like, that might draw people in because they're like, oh, it's like, I don't need to know. But then you're tricking them.
You're tricking them.
Because it is, in fact, the fifth movie of a full franchise.
100%.
So when you go in or watch it, you're tricked because you're like, oh, I thought this was just like
Yeah.
a fresh start or something.
Same thing with Halloween. You're tricking people because when you call it Halloween, they expect it's a remake, but it's not a remake.
It in fact has all the baggage of an entire franchise of like 30 years of movies behind it. So it's actually not a jumping on point in a sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're tricking people. I can't think of any like Planet of the Apes is a good example where they just all the sequels riffed on the original title.
Yeah.
I can't think of any off the top of my head where each movie and each entry in the series was just a different title altogether. I can't think of any.
I was trying to think of one.
Yeah, like ones where each one is just a unique name.
Totally unique name.
Yeah. Okay, I got one. The Hustler and Color of Money.
There's a good, yeah. There you go.
Yeah. They didn't call it The Color of Money, a Hustler side story.
Yeah,
like,
a hustler
from the book of Hustler, like from the filthy magazine of Hustler. They didn't call it that. You know what I mean? That's a good example though, where they were completely different title movies.
I prefer that. It's like, let people figure it out with the marketing, or just realize it's like, oh, this is a sequel to that movie I liked. It doesn't need to be.
Let's use Predator again, because we got Predator, Predator 2, perfect.
Yep.
We got Predators.
They did the S.
They did the
classic S. Aliens.
The Predator. Now we're getting dumb.
Now we're getting the.
Yeah, now we're getting really fucking dumb.
The.
And then thankfully, mercifully, new movie, Prey. Good title. Yeah. Oh, and shockingly, it's not. Notice Predator's not even in the title.
Yeah.
And yet people weren't dumb enough they figured it out and they watched it.
Yeah.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that fucking crazy? Doesn't that blow your fucking minds? You fucks. This is the most heated I've got on this podcast so far. Like, Christ, I'm just tired of reading this shit.
You brought us full circle right back to Prey. So
I did.
That's impressive.
Yeah, that's a good way of ending it. Okay.
That's very good.
That's it, folks. That's all I got.